I would like to get a Comicon report from the king of Comicon 2014, Spencer Crittenden.
Hey guys, hey. Whoa.
Hey Spencer, how you doing, man?
That was good. I thought that vocal was someone yelling at me.
What vocal?
The vocal in that song that was playing.
The song is called Loudmouth by Ray Kondo.
It sure was. Comic-Con.
Yeah, what happened? Give us the scoop.
My feet hurt.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
Give me what was your highlight? Was there a highlight?
I got to play Super Smash Brothers, the new one, as Mega Man. That's all I've ever wanted to do with my entire life. It was great. The convention was packed more than ever, and there was more than ever signs saying you couldn't do stuff, and more than ever people telling you what to do, and it was kind of a bummer. And where I remember there used to be booths where it's all like, oh, get a free USB drive, here, have a free sticker. Now it's like, win a raffle to get a sticker, and it's just like it's getting cheapened. I don't know.
There was a new development this year that was just, if I hadn't crossed a threshold in my head where I was like, look, I'm just another rich douche here promoting things. I'm not going to look at myself as one of the nerds anymore. I'm looking at myself as an exploiter of nerds. Like, I've got 2 shows I'm promoting here. I'm getting driven around in SUVs. Let's be real. My experience at Comic-Con, if it's good, is great for me and not for anyone else in particular. It was one thing that I let get to me as a nerd of old, which was just like now they just station these guys who I couldn't describe any way else other than to just call them gym teacher types, because I don't know who else goes into security at a convention center. And they're peppered like every 30 feet throughout the convention center, and they're literally just yelling at a sea of nerds. Keep it moving.
And they do it indiscriminately when people are moving, when they're not, when there's heavy traffic areas, when there's no people in an aisle.
So we already know you can't sit on the floor at Comic-Con, which used to be, this is my big thing that I've always had a problem with. I went to SuperCon in Miami, I went to New York Comic-Con. You can still see what is a beautiful thing to me, which is, this is our people, this is the way we pray. We buy a bunch of shit with our enormously disposable income because no one's dating us. We consume the fuck out of stuff, and when we get exhausted from buying your shit, we plop our fat asses down on the carpet against the nearest stretch of wall, and we look through it until we can get another bit of strength and take another surge through this stuff. And we're dressed like the Monopoly guy and pirates and spider people, and it's like it used to be. And then it's like, okay, you can't sit on the floor anymore. Okay, well, yeah, that's because Bruce Willis's PR team's coming through, and now I'm part of that problem too. So I dropped that. I dropped that passion. If you want to sit on the floor, go to New York. But keep it moving. Keep it moving. I can't fucking move. You guys are making too much money for me to move. That's fucking crazy. Keep it moving. That's exactly what a gym teacher says.
In that vein, a lot of the traffic signals were shut down, and they had like traffic enforcement, directing traffic and stuff. And I always thought it was pretty weird because they call them traffic enforcement officers, but they're really more like traffic naggers. Like, they just, tell you what to do, and if you don't, they're like, "Doh!" And then just everyone continues doing it, what they're gonna do. They don't actually stop people. They never cite anyone. There's, 5 people at the same intersection. You think one of them can go tackle someone. It wouldn't be that hard. They're not really enforcing anything.
Yeah, I saw a lot of mob rule happening at the crosswalks, which was kind of a nice thing. Like, people just crawling under the cross arms on the railroad track.
Well, but did you see that accident that happened? And this family of deaf people got beat up by nerds at Comic-Con?
What?
This happened yesterday. So there was
an accident?
There was a zombie.
Dan, deaf people.
So you chose wisely. But they were driving a car, which would be significantly more challenging. if you were blind. But they were waiting at a crosswalk, and it was the zombie run was happening. So this guy had little kids who couldn't hear. And then suddenly, people in amazing like zombie outfits keep coming by, and these kids start freaking out. And it's taking a long time, so he starts like nudging his car forward because there's no rule. And they started attacking the car and breaking the windshield and stuff. Yeah, and then so he like tried to get away and hit an old lady. Why was an old lady there? I don't know, but she broke her arm, and nobody died. But
man,
my
I saw.
God.
It's funny because I was over at a pizza place watching like that procession go by, and then it kept being interrupted by all these emergency vehicles, and that's what that was.
yeah,
They were going to attend to that, but it was funny because you see this parade, and then it gets like pushed off into the sidewalk, and then they keep going like nothing happened.
I became part of that. I was kind of bummed out about it. Like it was just like it seemed like all of the. It was just a sea of what I perceived as San Diego natives who were all eating at restaurants with their cameras out, watching really extra slow nerds walk by them with just and I was like part of this fucking parade. I'm like, this is the worst. I'm hungry. Not for human flesh. I'm going to meet people. I was like, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
You can't like knock over a stroller with a zombie baby in it and like elbow them by.
I do love going though, even with all that, like because you see when the people are dressed up and stuff. It's very exciting. Like there's still a lot of passionate people around, and they're getting yelled at by gym teachers, but they're still there.
I had a great time. I mean, again, as I say, big asterisk at the top of all this. I've become some strange protected elitist astronaut. I land at Comicon and I'm handled now. I'm escorted to the place I need to be.
You're seeing parts of the convention center that nobody gets to see, like in the behind the thing.
I get to see Channing Tatum in an elevator and do bits. But so for me, everything was seamless, and every single person I'm meeting is someone who is moved to speak to me because they so admire me. So it's like my experience is like. It's like it's insanely biased, but I was a really great Comic-Con.
Do you think that you could sit down and someone wouldn't tell you to keep it moving?
I don't. Well, there was a moment like after I finished the Adult Swim signing, it was kind of weird. Like I was sort of like this fat old guy, my gray stringy hair, and I had like vodkas delivered to me while I was signing stuff by Justin's assistant. Tamara, thank you, Tamara. And I was done with the signing, and it was like no one cared that I had a glass of vodka on the rocks at the signing table. And then when it was over, I just kind of wandered off with it. So I was, for a moment there, I was kind of just strolling through the exhibit hall with this cocktail in my hand, and I did kind of feel like the king of something, because there was nobody was telling me you're not allowed to do that. And it's like, of course you can't have like glassware.
Yeah.
But it was filled with booze. I felt like Dean Martin or something.
I don't know if last year this happened. I don't know if I talked about it here, but women have like a different experience. Like women like get groped and stuff. That happens. I was walking with Emily.
Comic-Con?
Well, there was a new thing there this year. I mean, it's not a new thing. A new awareness of it. What's the Twitter handle?
Cosplay is not consent.
Well, cosplay is not consent is the slogan. There's a Twitter account.
Is that really a thing? Cosplay is not consent.
No, it's not. All women.
Well, but women like dress up in cosplay, and then guys think it's okay to treat them like
like cartoons.
Like cartoons, yeah. Well, not that.
Well, if somebody's
they objectify them.
Like not people, yeah.
If a girl's dressed as Poison Ivy, then obviously it's okay to just run up to her and go like, "Hey, how are you? Can I let me get a picture?" Without actually engaging them like a human being because they're dressed as Poison Ivy.
But you think that they're actually being handled and groped and like
there's reports of that.
Well, last year I was walking and it was me and Emily. We were walking, and Emily was like, "This guy keeps she felt some guy like sort of was like really close to her, his crotch on her, like weird, yeah. So I looked back expecting like a huge crowd, but it was just me and Emily, and then one guy behind her, and no one else around, just the three of us walking. And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Just mounting her as you're walking around.
Well, I mean, it was Jaime Lannister, so he was fine with it. But no, it was like me and her and just like one dude behind it. When I looked, he went away. But we just expected like to be a huge crowd and people getting pushed around. But
is it Geeks for Consent? Yeah, that was the Twitter thing I was looking at in the limo ride home from my privileged flying saucer that I hover over, But yeah, Geeks for Consent. It's a small group of people, from what I've been able to gather from reading their updates and things. What it is that San Diego Comicon, as an official, from an official PR perspective, like, they don't want to create the idea that this is a problem, so they'd rather just wait until something terrible, whatever their position is, and that's what this group is running up against. They're saying, can we make the one formal step of adding official, thorough anti-harassment language to the Comicon guidelines, what constitutes it and how it'll be dealt with and all that stuff. I think they have like one sentence in there that's like, don't harass people.
Is it for all women, or just for women that choose to dress up in cosplay outfits? Or
I would guess all women. I wouldn't think you'd have to dress up as Sailor Moon to not be sexually harassed. You know what I mean? I bet it would be all women.
I think it's just all human beings. I think as with anywhere, you're allowed to feel safe. If you choose to dress up as a character, you're not necessarily saying to strangers that they have an elevated level of permission with you in a social context. Yeah. They're just saying, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. All this group is asking is, can you please add that language to the big long list of warnings about don't wear your Google glasses when you watch the next Hugh Jackman movie at the panel. They're very thorough about that. What'll happen to you and anti-piracy and stuff. Not so thorough about just letting somebody know, don't run up to Sailor Moon, throw your hand around her waist, take a selfie, talk to her like she's Sailor Moon. Like it's a person, and that's it. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. As our world keeps changing under our feet.
Spencer, did you have a low light of the Comic-Con?
I'd like to shame Hasbro Incorporated.
It's high time, man.
Yeah, they had this situation where, like, they had a booth that was like a store, like many other stores in the Comic-Con situation, but this booth was special because in order to get the privilege of lining up in the ridiculously long line to buy the merch, you had to get these tickets elsewhere at a completely different place, like at 6 a.m. And that's
to
before
buy stuff at the store?
Yeah, and that's before the Comic-Con even opens. So it's like, get to Comic-Con 3 hours before they open so you could get a ticket so you can stand in line to buy this shit. And it was a bummer.
What were you planning to buy from Hasbro?
Promotional Magic card stuff, because Hasbro bought Wizards of the Coast, so they own Magic and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's a bummer. But on a highlight-related note, I got to go to a weird Magic event hosted by Geek and Sundry, and I got to play Magic with just some new players, but also this guy, I think his name was Doug Beyer, but he's a Magic, executive guy, and I got to see one of the
Did they know who
guys.
you were?
No. It was cool.
Did you have any reflected celebrity from being a?
Yeah, I mean, there was probably about 40 people that stopped me and talked to me recognized me from Harmontown or from TV. It was cool.
I bet a lot of other dudes with ponytails and big beards also got stopped.
I bet they did.
We saw you yesterday. No, you didn't.
There was about 3 or 4 people that were like, "Did I see you?" And then I was like, "I don't know. Did you?" And then they're like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Do you watch TV?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "Well, a lot of people just generally look like this, like with a crazy beard and long hair and glasses and fat."
They thought you were Hammurabi.
Yeah, I mean, I have a code.
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn by telling the Justin story in the elevator. It was Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, was really drunk, and he got into an elevator, and he goes through a curtain.
He's a great drunk.
Yeah, it's great in air quotes. He's a big drunk, and there was a guy in the elevator that was. I think in a wheelchair. I'm hearing this story third hand, and Justin was just being big and gregarious and stuff, and he was sort of like putting a hand on the guy's shoulder and saying, isn't that right or whatever, kind of like inviting everyone to the party in the elevator, kind of like let's all hang out. in the elevator right now and be friends and look at how drunk I am. And the third time he did, like the guy said like, look, you're really invading my space right now. I'm very uncomfortable. And Justin was like, oh shit, sorry. And then he got really quiet. And then he said, listen, I don't know if you're like a fan of Adventure Time or something like that. And the guy cut him off and said, I know who you are.
Shit! Pack a snap.
Pack a snap.
snap.
Wow. That could not have gone any worse.
That was just, that elevator just became a crater.
Yes. I wouldn't let Jaime Lannister touch me this much.
Wow.